I'm AC Brown, and you're listening to Is My Aura On Straight, a podcast designed to help you start living from your core instead of your conditioning. Each week, we'll discuss topics ranging from human design, astrology, metaphysics, spiritual self-development, and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Is My Aura On Straight. I am your host, AC Brown. I am your spiritual doula, intuitive strategist, and human design expert, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Is My Aura On Straight. Today's episode is highly requested. I've received several DMs, just like all the other episodes. From a few manifestors about when is my episode coming out. I'm waiting for my episode. Well, here it is. And this title of this episode is Manifestors Lead with Caution. So today we're going to talk about manifestors. Manifestors and reflectors are the rarest of the aura types in human design. Generators and manifesting generators make up 70% of the population, split down the middle, 35% each. Projectors, like myself, we make up 22% of the population. And then you have manifestors who only make up 8% of the population. And then you have the rarest of them all, reflectors, who make up 2% of the population. So manifestors, you are very rare, and it's for a reason. You are the only aura type in human design who is here to initiate and inform. You are the quintessential Nike moniker, just do it. But that comes with, some gifts and a little bit of curses, not curses, but some challenges. And we're going to talk about that today. So what makes a manifestor? A manifestor has a direct connection from the throat to a motor in human design. And that means that they are pure energy. Something about manifestors, which when you find out you're a manifestor, this all makes sense. It's like a magical light bulb that lights up. Manifestors are starters. Point blank, period. They are not finishers. This is something that is extremely challenging for manifestors, and they have to learn how to finish. And we're going to talk about that. So something about manifestors that they don't quite understand, and at times the people around them don't quite understand. Manifestors have a very powerful presence and often annoy the entire fuck out of people, but that's okay. And it's not because they are meant to be annoying, or they're meant to repel. That's in human design. They have a repelling energy, is what they call it. It's not on purpose. It's because imagine being, and I'm going to talk about that, being a child or a teenager when or anybody who has some type of adult authority around them, and you are supposed to initiate and just do things, but you have people telling you can't do it. So as soon as you get to break free, like you go to college, you just start initiating, and people are like, who's this girl? Who's this guy? Who do they think they are? They're just talking. They just think they know everything and all of that stuff. That's usually what happens with the manifestor. Everybody can't handle you, and that's okay. There's different ways to feel confident and comfortable in that. And when it comes to being a manifestor, it's very hard to have that energy being suppressed for so many years, especially in your formative years. And then when you finally get a chance to initiate or lead or inform, there's a lot of resistance, and we're going to talk about that. So if you are a manifestor, listen. If you have a manifestor friend, this will help you understand them a little bit more. Ian Levan-Zant, if you know who she is, Amanda Seals, they're manifestors. They have very powerful energy, very powerful voices, very powerful thoughts and opinions that sometimes annoy people, and people don't resonate and don't like it, because manifestors are here to inform us. They are here to have uninterrupted um, spurts of creativity. They are here to create. Like I said, they are starters. Stedman Graham, he is a manifestor. And I talk about, the whole trifecta of him and Oprah and that whole trifecta of them and how it works, and him being able to initiate and to inform is very important. Stedman, I think he makes most of his money as a professional speaker. And he was also in finance and stock markets and things like that. So perfect careers for, manifestors. So don't, look at it like, oh, they're just starters. They're never going to finish anything. That's not the case. And young manifestors, that might be the case, but most of the time manifestors have had a lot of careers, just like projectors, but mostly manifestors, because they are here to start creative energy. They're here to get the party started. That's what they are here to do. They're here to manifest. They're here to just get that creative thing going. And with them doing that, at times they move too fast. They make lots of mistakes. A manifestor, a prime example, a manifestor can be, walking somewhere and they can, have to get to this particular destination really quickly. And on their way to that walking, they might stub their toe and break their toe. Because they need to slow down, because that's how fast manifestors can move. And that's where they make mistakes at. But back to their presence. So if you're a manifestor, you have a powerful presence. You probably have been called a know-it-all, just like projectors, but it's a little bit, of course, different because you have that defined throat center. So people are hearing you more, they're listening to you more, and they're like, oh, she thinks she knows everything, or he thinks he knows everything. That kind of case, and that's where the repelling kind of energy comes. Because just imagine all of the other aura types and people not knowing their aura types have to wait or respond or to do all of these steps, and then here you come, you're just informing everybody, initiating stuff. Of course people are going to get mad with you, because they're going to be like, who the heck is this person just doing things? Now the caveat is you can just do, but then you will stop and then you will change your mind. Manifestors get bored very, very easily. I mean, it's inevitable. Sometimes when I see manifestors, and they have different business projects and different ideas, I'm just like, I hope, let's give it time. Hope they have the right team around them, because they're going to switch next week, or they're going to give up next week. So that's what happens. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of manifestors, what happens is that you get caught in a cycle of waiting, and that's stemming from your childhood. And that's when you come to human design and you have to learn how to really decondition yourself. So what happens is that you have these parental units around you. I'm calling them parental units. But you have parents around you, have authority figures around you growing up, and you being a manifestor, you are here to initiate, you're here to inform people. That is your strategy, to inform. You're here to have uninterrupted patterns of creative streaks. So when you have parents around you, who's interrupting you? Because they're authority figures. So as adults, as 20s, 30s, sometimes even 40s and 50s, manifestors get caught in this cycle of waiting, because you have this urge in your body to inform people, to act, to just do, and then you're used to people shutting you down. You're used to people saying, no, girl, you can't do this, or you can't do that, you can't do this. And so when you get called in your purpose, when you find out your purpose, when you figure out what you're supposed to be here to do as a manifestor, because manifestors are here to inform, and when they find that passion, at times they get caught in that cycle of waiting, because they're not ready to lead, because they're expecting resistance from everyone around them. So manifestors, sometimes I have a really soft spot for them, of course, like projectors, because I'm a projector, but manifestors as well, because imagine that you are here to tell people things, to be the messenger, to get people to do stuff, to create movements. And for a big part of your life, that has been shut down. So when you do find your calling, when you do find your purpose, that time from finding your purpose to really stepping into your power can be years for manifestors. It can be cycles of waiting and constantly trying to figure out, if you're going to do it. And then what happens is that you stop because you're afraid of the resistance. So just imagine for a manifestor child, because parents are cock blockers, period. That's what they're here to do. They don't want us to make the same mistakes that they've made, etc. So I'd say a manifestor child goes to school and one day they're like, you know what? I want to be a ballerina. That's what's up. I'm about to be a ballerina. Let me go home and tell my mom I want to go to dance school. I want to get all the ballerina things, So mom and dad, they say, okay, great. Let's invest in you. You want to be a ballerina. Awesome. And then all of a sudden, because that creative energy that you got to be a ballerina is so strong in you that you start moving towards that as a child. You're like, yes, I'm going to be a ballerina. I'm going to be the best ballerina. I'm going to dance for this ballet company. I'm going to be point. I'm going to be one of the world's famous ballerinas. And you're doing that. You're in that creative flow. Your parents are supporting you. They're paying for classes. You're going to ballet school, ballet class. You're going to dance class. You're doing all those things. And then a month later, you're like, hold on. I think I want to play the flute. That might be a better idea because the band looks like it's popping. And then you go to your parents and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to play the flute. I think I want to be the first female, Grammy Award winning flutist. And then your parents are like, no, we just invested hundreds of dollars for you to be a ballerina. That's not going to happen. So you're stuck in ballet class. And then the next thing, you're like, dang, I really wanted to play the flute. And then you're like, you know what? I think I want to do some soccer. Then it's a constant and then your parents are like, no, you can't play soccer. We've invested in ballet school. So that's where manifestors have a big problem because it starts from childhood. You are constantly wanting to have all of these creative bursts to do stuff. And then as parents, just in general, activities, creation, it costs money. And so that's where I noticed that, just talking to manifestors and working with manifestors, they can pinpoint somewhere in their life as a child where they have issues of being stopped. So, when it comes to getting ready to lead, because that's what you're here to do, manifestor, is to lead in some form, to be a leader of, to be a leader in. You have this life that was filled with resistance and being pushed back and being told no or you can't. So you're afraid to do so. And that's why I love working with manifestors because, it's like I give them the permission to just go and do it. So when it comes to whatever platform you have to speak about or to talk about whatever's your business niche or your creative niche, just go ahead and inform us. Because what is informing? That's what we'll get into. What is informing? Informing is not your kryptonite. Informing is your tool for strength. It is, it's your superpower. Informing does not mean that you're going to get pushback. You don't need to worry about that. That's what I tell manifestors. That's not your business. That's none of your concern, worrying about what they're going to say. Your job is just to inform them on what's going to happen next. Example, if you are in a business and you're selling something, and I'll just use that. Excuse me, mind you, I'm probably going to lose my voice. So I'm trying to record as many episodes as I can because my allergies and my sinuses are going crazy. So I did not mean to sniffle on this episode and probably the last episode, but my allergies are like haywire. But anyway, I digress. So you have a business and you're selling something in your business. All you need to do is tell people to buy it. That's it. Of course, there's other business tweaks and things like that. But I'm just giving one example. Just tell people to buy it. If you're having a party, just tell people to show up. You're here to inform them of what's happening next. So I like to use the vacation example. If you're planning a trip for you and your girlfriends to go hang out and chill and go to Vegas, you just tell them we're going to Vegas on this date. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to bring. This is the hotel that we're staying at. And then that's it. Now, of course, you're afraid because of that conditioning as a child. Well, I don't want to stay there. I don't want to do this. And why we got to go that day? That's not your problem. You don't need to worry about that. You just need to inform people of what's going to happen, especially if they put you in charge. Now, I know this is a very horrible example to use, but one of the most, prime examples of informing, unfortunately is, I don't want to use this, but it is an example. It's Hitler. And I use this example because it's an example of the power of manifestors, because manifestors don't really understand your power that much, and because of that resistance that you've had in your formative years. So unfortunately, the Holocaust happened. Adolf Hitler, he's a manifestor. But as far as your voice and telling people what to do and leading, you have the power to lead movements, to lead collectives, to lead community efforts. That's how powerful your voice is. That's how powerful your leadership skills are to build these communities, to build these collectives. Now, with leadership, like I said, informing with caution, that comes at a price. You have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for the responsibility of that. And in my opinion, and it's my belief, most manifestors aren't, because they haven't done the work to figure out where they have felt resistance in their life, where they need to decondition from, where they need to work out those kinks of healing and things of that nature. Because most of the times when they do get ready or they get a platform, it's a slow start, because they're finally able to go ahead and inform people, and then they're afraid not of the success, but they're afraid of the failure, of the pushback, of the resistance. But a manifestor has the most powerful voice of all of the aura types. And that's why I love Iyanla Vanzant, because she's another great example of her voice. And her actual story is a good example, just in the fact that she reached this pinnacle using her voice, using her message, building a community, building this whole movement, and then she lost it all. That happens frequently with manifestors. Something happened, things happen. I believe her daughter died and she had a fall, but guess what? She got it all back again tenfold, because that's how powerful as a manifestors are. They can fall and come back, because you're here to inform people. You're here to inform people what's happening next. And her show, Iyanla Fix My Life, is a prime example. Manifestors, the reason why you are starters and not finishers, because you're not meant to finish. You are creative energy. You're creative force. You are the talent, as I like to call manifestors. When it comes to performing, let's say you're a singer. You're here to just show up and sing the damn song. On Iyanla Fix My Life, she shows up and she does her work. She does her coaching. She does her therapy. She does what she does. She does her genius, her gift. And then that's it. She has a whole production crew that wrangles everybody, that gets backstories. She shows up, the cameras go on, and she starts with, "Why are you here?" And then they go ahead and they go into the work. That's what manifestors are here to do. They're here to help people in that interest, in that time of doing their work, whatever it is. They're here to lead movements. They're here to inform people. And like I said, time and time again, I see it over and over. Stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting. It is a endless cycle of waiting for permission for someone to give you as a manifestor. So I'm here. If you're listening to this and you're a manifestor, I'm giving you permission to do your thing, to do you, to live in your level of genius, because you haven't had that as a child. You've been constantly talked, you know, your parents have told you can't do that. You need to stop. You've had friends, and they're not haters. They just don't understand your aura type of that's what you're here to do. So, people like, oh, I have haters. They don't want to see me shine and all that stuff. When manifestors say that, no, that's not it. They just don't understand that you're here to just inform them. So that bothers them. It's not about that. And, it's not about you. It's about them. So my manifestors, please, 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 if you're listening to this, if you know what you want to do, if you have an idea whether you want to be the best, dentist, the best office manager, the best at whatever, just inform people around you, and that's it. Don't worry about this is wrong for me to say, don't necessarily worry about how they feel about it, but know that you're going to be taken care of by the universe. You're going to be it's more of a self-care practice for you to just inform people. You're not informing them for them to tell you no, or for you to look for the no. You're just informing them because you need them to know what's happening next. When you get comfortable in doing that, that's when you'll really start shining. That's when you'll really start to really live your truth, is when you get comfortable informing people. Most manifestors, when they have issues and they're stuck in their business, their careers, their relationships, and there's communication issues, you have them the most because you don't know how to inform properly. You're informing in a way that you're looking for rejection because that's what you're used to. That is not why you inform. You inform because you're telling people what's going to happen next, whether they like it or not for them to shut you down. So you have to learn how to be better communicators. And most manifestors, as they get older, they learn how to be better communicators. But the ones who are, in this, who don't know they're manifestors, are probably not really good communicators. But the ones that do, they learn how to communicate properly. Because the art of communication for a manifestor is key. Because, like I said, you're not telling people what they want to know. You're just telling them what's happening. And so that's really important. So, you can't be afraid to inform. You have to get used to that so that people can take you seriously. A lot of manifestors deal with people not taking them seriously because you have this whole stop and starting. So one week you're the president of the tree club. The next minute, you're the president of the yearbook club. So it's hard for people to take you seriously. So that whole stopping and starting thing makes, it hard. And then people have that repelling energy. So they already have issues with you just starting stuff, and then you're starting stuff all the time. So they just can't take you seriously with that. So you don't have to ask. You have to inform. That's really important. So write that down. You don't have to ask. You have to inform. So my advice to manifestors is make a list of where you need to lead and inform, and just do that. Anywhere in your life, where are you shrinking? Where are you not telling people what's happening next, how you feel? Communication is extremely important for my manifestors. If you need to pick up a book on communicating better, effective communication, do so. Make sure that is something that you learn, the art of communicating, because the more you learn how to inform people and communicate in a non-emotional way, the better it will be for you and your self-care. The more you inform properly, the more things will start to flow better for you. You won't get so much resistance in life, in your relationships. I see it time and time again, especially for my entrepreneur manifestors who struggle a lot with the stopping and starting. It's like the plague. It's like, I always make a joke if, if someone's in competition with a manifestor, just give it time. They're going to change their mind. And it's not to be, to be mean or funny, but it's true, because you just don't know your power yet. That's So just imagine, Iyanla Vanzant, the other example that I gave, it's not a good one, but, the manifestors that I posted on my Instagram, and I'll be posting more. Imagine how powerful your voice is, and then look at where you shrink at in your life, and then just model the people who are showing up and talking and speaking and on their platforms, especially my manifestors in the workplace. Just like projectors, you're not really here to work of a 9 to 5. You are here to, find what you love and form in that creative energy. But, if you do have to work a 9 to 5, you need to be informing properly, communicating properly, being the proper teammate. Because manifestors on teams, that's kind of difficult for y'all because you're just doing stuff, and sometimes people interrupting your creative flow gets on your nerves, and it actually is not good for you. So you have to find that commonality, that balance when you are in the workplace. And I'm going to talk about that and some other things that I'm doing, some tips and tricks for manifestors in the workplace and in situations where you are not running the show. Because that's can be a bad self-care practice. Some manifestors who are working at certain jobs are miserable because they're not able to inform properly. They are, in these structures that are just not good for them. So that's important too. That means something as well. So for my manifestors, definitely make a list of where you need to lead and inform in your life, in whether it's life and business, relationships with friendships, and just do it. Remember, you are here to just do things. You're here to tell people the next step. You are here to have unlimited creative patterns of flow in your life. And where you're not doing that, that's when you're going to, do yourself a disservice, and it's not going to be comfortable. You're going to hate going places. You're going to hate doing things with certain people because you're not informing properly. So that's, what I'd like to say for manifestors. Another thing I want to say for manifestors is not only read some, communication books, but read some books. And like I said, I'm working on some stuff for you guys as well, some personal empowerment stuff on leadership, on stepping into your leadership capabilities and your leadership qualities, because manifestors, you're so powerful when it comes to leading. You also have that shadow side of being super afraid to lead because of your childhood and that deconditioning that you need to do. Unfortunately, I've never really met a manifestor where they have really been allowed to just be and do and inform in their childhood. So it's always breaking that down. It's always deconditioning with them in that. So just, take that. And if you have manifestors, if you have any questions, definitely email me. I don't mind that. And if I can help you or you can DM me, do so. So manifestors, lead with caution, but lead. That is the key word in that. Lead. Don't not lead. Lead. Inform. Initiate. Do all of those things. Also, so, I talked about it on the last podcast, and I also talked about it in my stories today, that I am going to be doing some new podcast episodes where I am helping people fix problems based off their human design chart, using, like I said, a little bit of my coaching, a little bit of my intuitive gifts, and a whole lot of clarity with them on the actual podcast. There'll be actual podcast episodes. It'll just be called the Aura Analysis episodes, and then it'll be a question. I invite you to use the link in the show notes or the link in my bio on Instagram. And if you want to be featured on the podcast with you and I having a conversation of going through your particular issue and your question, because that is my gift. I'm an ideator. I am a problem solver. I'm a strategist. And That's my jam. That's my zone of genius. And I would love to help you in some life areas. It can be business, it can be career, it can be relationships, it can just be some deconditioning stuff that you're dealing with, to help look at your chart, see what might be going on there, use my intuition, and use some coaching stuff and working it out on the podcast. So it's like a little mini session. You will stay anonymous. I won't use your name or anything like that. So if you're interested, click the link in the show notes or go to my Instagram at AC Brown and click the link in the bio and look for or analysis. And I would love to have you, and we can have a conversation, and your story or whatever could help people. But until next time, have a great week filled with good vibes and amazing energy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Is My Aura on Straight? Make sure you follow me on Instagram at AC Brown, and also check out my website for products and services at www.acbrown.com. And until we meet again, make sure you have a great week filled with good vibes and good energy.